Continue now with our lead story. President Obama trying to reassert his authority in the wake of 3 scandals. Joining us now from Lower Manhattan, Dr. Marc Lamont Hill, who teaches at Columbia University. So I know you, being a level-headed, fair-minded guy, agree with me and Ben Stein that Lerner, Rummler, and McDonough all have to go. They have to go, correct?
You know, Bill, actually, I do agree. I think somebody's got to go in the midst of this. I also agree with something you said when you were talking to Ben, and I think Ben's absolutely wrong about this, is that there is not only plausible deniability in the case of Obama, I think it's quite reasonable to assume that he really didn't know. That's not to excuse his behavior post-finding out, but I surely believe that his chief of staff...
Well, you and Bob Beckel are giving the president the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know, and that's because you're both supporters of Mr. Obama. I have a
No, that's not why, Bill. That's not why. You said this. You said the same thing. You said that it's not outside the stretch of belief. All I'm saying
No, that's absolutely correct. I agree with you. The plausible denial is now a technique that's used not only in government, but in private industry.
Absolutely.
You keep the big kahuna from the real nasty stuff, so if it ever comes back at him, he can say he doesn't know. That is a strategy that's employed, so everybody should understand that. But I'm a neutral as far as President Obama is concerned, okay? Because my job is to be fair and balanced, as you well know. All right? So I don't know what he knew. And if evidence points to the fact that he did know and he's covered it up, then he's through.
Right. But the problem is there's no evidence of that.
No, there isn't any evidence right now. The rubber meets the road, though. Next week, he's got to get rid of these 3. And they also, the 2 of them, Rummler and McDonough, have to go and testify under oath. And if they take the 5th Amendment, Hill, you know all hell's going to break loose.
If they take the 5th, I would imagine that their days are numbered in the White House. It would have to be. Again, it doesn't mean that we know exactly what the legal culpability is. They've pled the 5th. However, it looks bad, it stinks, and I think the American people are not going to be comfortable with this. The American people do not want a White House, either Democrat or Republican, that targets political groups based on their beliefs. You don't want that. I don't think that's what Obama's attempting to do. I don't think that's what his...
But certainly the IRS attempted to do it, and that is a federal agency under his administration. So you can't just say, oh, we didn't know about it, so we don't really... You have to get to the bottom of it.
Let's get to the bottom of it, but the problem is the right has attempted to paint this as some Nixon-like moment.
Some have.
Yeah, and some have been prominent, like John Boehner. Right. Some have not. Some said we don't know
Boehner
yet.
didn't do it. Boehner is basically, he's in the IRS. That's where the Speaker of the House is directly in there going, you know, somebody has to go to jail here. Because they did it. They did it. He didn't say somebody in the White House has to go to jail.
He's saying, no, Boehner's saying it's impossible to believe that Obama didn't know. And that's against all evidence to the contrary. It is entirely, even Bill O'Reilly is saying it is possible.
Even Bill O'Reilly. I love that phrase. So used by the far left kooks. Even Bill O'Reilly. I'm the fairest guy on the planet. You know that. I'm not going anywhere unless there's evidence to take me there. All right, now, the president today, and I think you'll agree with me on this, used his foreign policy speech to reassert his authority. He probably said things that offended you and the loons up at Columbia University all day long. He wants the drone. He thinks they're justifiable, and so do I. Go ahead.
First of all, I love the term loon. That really helps to highlight your fair and balanced nature. But look, the issue here is not about whether or not drones are defensible at all. That's a straw argument used by war hawks to suggest that somehow the left is saying that at no moment should drones ever be used. President Obama used today's speech to reassert a very dangerous foreign policy. And I might add, he did it to divert our attention from...
I don't know what the danger is. Tell me what the danger is. What is the danger?
I'll tell you, but let me make this other point, because it's really important and profound, Bill. It's that he's doing this to distract us from the IRS. He's doing this to distract us from the AP. He knows that there's a sector of American people who are on his butt right now because of that stuff, and he knows that those same people love war hawk talk. So that's why he's giving this speech today, it's to divert our attention. But specifically, Bill, the issue here, again, it's not whether or not a drone has any usefulness in our lives. As a surveillance drone, I'm fine with that. I could even live with, although I don't love it, I could live with predator drones under certain circumstances. But the problem is the Obama administration has used them in ways that are not transparent, in ways that probably violate law, in ways that hide the death toll and overstate its ability to be safe. I want fewer drones, I want safer drones, and I want legal drones. Obama has done none of that. The
so far he hasn't been challenged on the legality of it. Also, the proof is that Al-Qaeda has been weakened by them. And I just don't see it. I don't see that this is hurting the United States. Some Muslims don't like it. I understand that. Obama said today
some
he understands
people don't
that.
like it, Bill. You don't have to pray 5 times.
Some people don't like it, but the alternative is to just let them sit up there in the mountains and hatch their plots.
Bill, that is what we call a straw argument.
All right, whatever it is, straw, I think it's valid.
Bill, if you're being dishonest, you're suggesting that the choice is either to have wild drones shot by the CIA, the FBI, yes, indiscriminate drones, or to have nothing.
There's no proof that drones are indiscriminate. There's no proof at all about that.
But here's the problem, Bill. We don't have access to the proof because we don't get death tolls.
Because we're fighting a war. You don't have access to all the battlefield stuff in a war. No war you have access to that.
Bill,
so there it is.
But the problem is it's not always a battlefield. The also problem is that we lie about the death tolls. We have 18-year-old people in Yemen being called enemy combatants just because they're 18 in military age.
If you have proof of that, doctor, please give it to me, and we will do a segment on it. But we appreciate your point of view as